Chapter 11 9 Needles for Soul Resurrection. You are listening at NovelsThe. What? Hua Tuo's golden prescription doesn't cure the disease. Chao Xinghua's expression suddenly changed. Little brother, you are definitely mistaken. There are records about Hua Tuo's golden prescription in many ancient books. It is clearly stated that this is a golden prescription that can be used for vicious diseases. You've all made a mistake. Bufan shook his head and said, the world-famous Ma Fei powder and Huatua Jinfang are two prescriptions that came out of ancient medicine. As a descendant of ancient medicine, how could he not know the efficacy of Huatua Jinfang? He further explained, there is nothing wrong with Huatua Jinfang being used for malignant diseases, but its meaning is not to cure malignant diseases, but to help late-stage patients relieve their pain. In terms of function, it is the same as Ma Fei San, except that Ma Fei San is used for surgical operations, while it is used for late-stage pain relief in seriously ill patients. To put it bluntly, it is just a prescription for painkillers that can be used for various conditions, including pain relief for patients with terminal cancer. It is much more effective than the painkillers currently used for cancer patients, and it does not have any addiction or side effects. How is this possible? Chao Xinghua looked in disbelief. This is impossible. If it can't cure the disease, why is it called Huatua Jinfang? Yi Bufan said, for some severely ill patients, such as late-stage cancer or pancreatitis, the pain will definitely make life worse than death. This prescription can effectively relieve this kind of pain. Only those who have tried that kind of pain know how valuable this medicine is, so it is called the golden prescription. Chao Xinghua was completely fooled. The previous prescription was incomplete, and he was unable to determine the properties and efficacy of the medicine, and eventually misunderstood the records in ancient books. As Yi Bufan said, the efficacy of this medicine is extremely valuable, but he pinned all his hopes of curing his old friend on Hua Tuo's golden prescription. Since this prescription can only relieve pain but cannot fundamentally cure the disease, what else can he use to save people? Seeing his disappointed look, Yi Bufan comforted him, Mr. Chao, you don't have to take it too seriously. Although Huatua Jinfang cannot cure diseases, you can still think of other ways. Other ways? Chao Xinghua suddenly felt something in his heart. Little brother, can you cure my old friend's disease? Yi Bufan was able to possess the complete Huatua golden formula, which showed that his master was extraordinary, and a glimmer of hope arose in his heart. Yi Bufan nodded and said, okay. Chao Xinghua was overjoyed and said excitedly, little brother, are you sure you can cure it? How sure are you? 80%. Yi Bufan, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. This is a very humble statement. The other party is just a lung disease, which is nothing in front of the inheritance of ancient medicine, but Chao Xinghua was extremely excited. After trying for so long, he could not find a cure at all. It was unimaginable for him to be 80% sure. That's great, little brother, would you please come with me to diagnose an old friend? Yi Bufan nodded. The fact that this old man was so concerned about his friend's illness showed that he was a sweet-tempered person. It was no big deal for him to help. Chao Xinghua drove an Audi A6, and the two of them left by Kaitang and rushed to the most famous Jiangnan picturesque community in Jiangnan City. When he met Yi Bufan for the first time, he didn't completely trust him. The reason why he invited his old friend to treat his illness was out of necessity and there was no other better choice. Chao Xinghua asked while driving, little brother, how are you going to treat my old friend? His words were both asking and a bit like taking a test. He wanted to see if Yi Bufan was telling lies. According to what Mr. Chao just said, the most suitable method for this kind of condition is the 9 soul-reviving needles. What? What did you say? After hearing the words 9 needles for soul resurrection, Chao Xinghua shook his hands in shock. The vehicle deviated from the direction and almost collided with an oncoming large truck. Fortunately, Yi Bufan reacted quickly and reached out to push on the steering wheel, which saved the day. Mr. Chao, pay attention to safety, Yi Bufan shouted, but he was quite amused in his heart. This old man was already a long time old, why was he still so uncalm? Chao Xinghua braked and stopped on the side of the road, then took Yi Bufan's hand and said, little brother, what did you just say? Is it really the 9 soul resurrection needles? Yeah, what's the problem? Oh my God, you can actually revive the soul with 9 needles. Are you lying to the old man? No wonder Chao Xinghua is so excited. The 9 soul reviving acupuncture is known as the most remarkable acupuncture method in the history of traditional Chinese medicine. It once had the reputation of causing the soul to come out and make people cry. Legend has it that as long as the 9 soul reviving needles can be used, even the dead can be revived, leaving the 2 soul seducers, black and white, at a loss. Yi Bufan said, "Of course I won't lie to you. This acupuncture method does exist in our inheritance. It's great, it's really great. With the 9 soul reviving needles, Lao He's life can finally be saved." Chao Xinghua suddenly had full confidence in Yi Bufan, restarted the car and drove forward quickly. Jiangnan Hejiao, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Jiangnan is definitely a person that all the upper class looks up to. He Changqing, the old man of the He family, once conquered the world with Taizu and made countless military exploits for China. He is one of the few remaining elders today and has extremely strong influence in Jiangnan city and even China. His 3 sons are also very outstanding. The eldest son He Tianming is in the army and has already had a star shining on his shoulders. The second son He Tianda is in politics and is a high official in Jiangnan province. The third son, He Tianqi, is engaged in business and has become very wealthy. Because of this, the He family has a strong voice in the entire Jiangnan city. The He family's villa is the best building in the picturesque community in Jiangnan. It is a separate courtyard with 3 small European-style buildings. Chao Xinghua was obviously very familiar with this place, seeing the bodyguards in front of his door without any obstruction. After entering the door, a middle-aged man in his 40s greeted him. It was He Changqing's third son, He Tianqi. "Uncle Chao, you're here." He Tianqi said with a sad face, "I was just about to call your old man. My father's condition is getting worse and worse these days. Please take a look at him quickly." "Don't worry, I brought Xiaoye here today to see Lao He." Chao Xinghua introduced Yi Bufan to He Tianqi and said, "This is Dr. Yi Bufan." "Ah." He Tianqi looked confused. In the past, Chao Xinghua often brought some famous Chinese medicine doctors to diagnose his father, but all of them were old men over 60 years old. When had there been such a young Chinese medicine doctor? Chao Xinghua saw his thoughts and said, "Although Xiaoye is young, his medical skills are far superior to the old man and me. Let's go and see Lao He." Although He Tianqi didn't quite believe Yi Bufan, Mr. Chao always had to give him face, so he led the 2 of them to a 3-story building. Chao Xinghua was familiar with the place and soon led Yi Bufan into a separate 3-story building, which was the Yi family's private hospital. Although this is a private hospital, the medical conditions are no worse than those of large hospitals. Entering the ward, Yi Bufan saw an old man with white beard and hair lying on the hospital bed. He was haggard and pale, and he was already in a coma. He Tianqi said anxiously, "Uncle Chao, help my father find a way." Chao Xinghua looked at Yi Bufan. "Xiaoye, please help Lao He take a look." Yi Bufan nodded and walked towards He Changqing's hospital bed. Just as he was about to reach out to feel his pulse, he heard someone shouting from behind, "Stop, don't touch my grandpa." Chapter 12, Prepare for the Funeral. You are listening at NovelsThe. Yi Bufan looked back and saw a girl in her 20s standing in front of the door. She had a delicate face, a tall figure, and a ponytail on her head. She had a heroic air. "What are you doing? Don't you know that my grandfather is a seriously ill patient and cannot be touched casually?" The girl walked in with an angry face. She was He Tianqi's daughter and He Changqing's granddaughter He Shuangshuang. He Shuangshuang has a very stubborn temper. He originally studied in Country M for 3 years, but after returning, he did not join the company according to the family's arrangement. Instead, he was admitted to the Public Security Bureau and became a policeman. He is now the deputy captain of the criminal police team. "Shuangshuang, why are you back?" He Tianqi stepped forward and said, "This is Dr. Yi Bufan, here to treat your grandfather." "How old is he to treat my grandfather? Has he graduated from medical school?" Seeing that Yi Bufan was younger than himself, A look of contempt flashed across He Shuangshuang's face. Obviously not taking him seriously, He Tianqi said with some embarrassment, "Shuangshuang, be polite, Dr. Yi is a Chinese medicine doctor." Chinese medicine? What a joke. Chinese medicine is inherently unreliable, let alone such a young Chinese medicine practitioner. He Shuangshuang received Western education since childhood and returned from studying in country M, so he had no regard for traditional Chinese medicine. She added, "Dad, let me introduce to you. This is Dr. Gao Haisheng, a cardiopulmonary expert invited by my friend from the imperial capital." Only then did He Tianqi see a middle-aged doctor in his 40s standing in front of the door. Behind him were 4 or 5 assistants in white coats, carrying various medical equipment in their hands. He Shuangshuang continued, "Dr. Gao is a doctor who studied in country M. He is the leading internal medicine expert in the imperial capital. He has unique research in cardiopulmonary medicine and has published 20 or 30 papers in magazines sponsored by the World Medical Association. Just a few days ago, Dr. Gao has received an invitation from the World Medical Association and will soon become a member there." This time Dr. Gao turned down a lot of work and came to see Grandpa during his busy schedule. Hearing the other party's series of titles, He Tianqi quickly stepped forward and said, "Dr. Gao, thank you for your hard work." Gao Haisheng nodded proudly, and then said, "As long as I am here for the old man's disease, he doesn't need to find other doctors, especially those who don't know the so-called traditional Chinese medicine. Those things like grass roots and rotten tree bark can cure the disease." Hearing this, Yi Bufan's face immediately darkened. "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." "It's okay if you like to show off, I won't say anything, but there is no need for you to slander Chinese medicine." Chao Xinghua's face also became extremely ugly. People like him who have devoted their lives to Chinese medicine naturally cannot accept that other people look down on Chinese medicine. He Shuangshuang didn't care about the expressions of the two of them at all. He turned to Gao Haisheng and said, "Dr. Gao, I leave my grandfather's illness to you. Don't worry, I will definitely provide the old man with the most advanced treatment in the world." After speaking, Gao Haisheng asked his assistants to take out various medical instruments and began to perform various examinations on He Changqing. He Tianqi looked at Chao Xinghua and Yi Bufan with some embarrassment. "Uncle Chao, I'm sorry, you also know this girl's temper. She doesn't care about what she says. Don't take it to heart. You two take a rest first, and then you can ask my father to diagnose his illness after they have finished their work." These words were very polite, but everyone could see that between Gao Haisheng and Yi Bufan, he chose the former. "Since someone is treating the old man, let's go back first." Yi Bufan obtained the inheritance of ancient medicine. Although his purpose is to save the world and save people, a doctor has the dignity of a doctor and never seeks to treat people. Since the He family didn't trust him, there was no need for him to stay here. After saying that, he turned around and was about to leave, but was held back by Chao Xinghua. "Xiaoye, don't leave in a hurry. According to the old man, these people will definitely not be able to cure Lao He these days. Old He has also seen many experts and professors of Western medicine, but those people have nothing to do, and they will have to trouble Brother Yi to take action later." He was also very dissatisfied with the He family's performance, but he couldn't care less about the life and death of his old friends. Yi Bufan said, "Mr. Chao, it's not that I don't want to give you face. I always rely on fate when seeing a doctor. I have never been in the habit of asking for medical treatment." Chao Xinghua said, "Xiaoye, if we leave, it will mean that Chinese medicine is inferior to Western medicine, which will make those people even more proud. What we should do most now is to cure Lao He, use our medical skills to slap them in the face, and make Chinese medicine proud and proud." His words touched Yi Bufan. Nowadays, traditional Chinese medicine is in decline. As the inheritor of ancient medicine, we should really do something for traditional Chinese medicine, aren't you, Gao Haisheng? Awesome. Not an expert in Western medicine. Isn't it famous throughout China? Then I will slap you in the face today and show you. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. What is real ancient Chinese medicine? Thinking of this, he stopped leaving and stayed with Chao Xinghua. He Tianqi was very surprised by Chao Xinghua's attitude towards Yi Bufan. He didn't know what virtues and abilities this young man had that made Mr. Chow value him so much. Gao Haisheng, with his assistants, completed one inspection after another for He Changqing, and finally the report sheets were collected into his hands. Looking at the test results in his hand, his frown deepened. He Shuang said nervously, "Dr. Gao, how is my grandfather's condition? Is there any hope?" Gao Haisheng sighed, shook his head and said, "I am already seriously ill, so hurry up and prepare for the funeral." He Shuang asked eagerly, "What? Dr. Gao, can't you think of another way?" That she had the best relationship with her grandfather, so naturally she didn't want to see Mr. He leave just now. He Tianqi also said nervously, "Yes, Dr. Gao, you are an expert in cardiopulmonary disease, you must think of a way. As long as my father can be cured, our He family is willing to bear it no matter what the price." Gao Haisheng shook his head and said, "I'm really sorry. It's true that I am an expert, but I can't cure all diseases. The old man's illness has been delayed for too long, coupled with his old age and reduced body functions. There is nothing he can do even if the gods come, so he should prepare for the funeral." He Tianqi and He Shuang both looked disappointed. From the bottom of their hearts, neither of them wanted to see this result. At this time, I heard someone next to me say, "Is this your expert in Western medicine? After studying in China for so many years, do you only learn to tell the patient's family how to prepare for the funeral?" The one who spoke was naturally Yi Bufan. He was indeed dissatisfied with Gao Haisheng's approach. He had just spoken such nonsense that no one could look down upon him, as if he was a miracle doctor. In the end, there is nothing you can do to turn around and tell people that they can only prepare for funeral arrangements. What kind of doctor is this? Boy, what are you talking about? As an internal medicine expert in the imperial capital, Gao Haisheng always flatters everyone wherever he goes. When has he ever been reprimanded like this? He said angrily, "Doctors are not God. Not all diseases can be cured. The patient's condition is serious. It's not that I am incompetent. No one can cure it." Yi Bufan sneered, "No one can be cured? Who gave you the courage to say such a thing? Can you represent the doctors in the world?" Chapter 13, See Through at a Glance. You are listening at NovelsThe.audio. Gao Haisheng shouted, "I am the authority in cardiopulmonary medicine. I am the expert. I can tell you for sure that no one can cure Mr. He's disease. Your title of expert is nothing in my eyes." Yi Bufan said, "I can also tell you for sure that Chinese medicine can cure the diseases that you can't treat with Western medicine, and I can cure the diseases that you can't." Gao Haisheng burst out laughing after hearing this, and said with a look of disdain, "Joke, what a joke, this is the funniest joke I have ever heard in my life. If Chinese medicine can cure diseases, then even old sows can climb trees." Hearing this guy slander Chinese medicine again, Yi Bufan frowned, "Do you dare to make a bet with me? If I can cure Mr. He's disease, you will publicly apologize to Chinese medicine in China. If I lose, this check is yours." He said and took out the $1 million check he had just received from Bai Keitang. Gao Haisheng shook his head and said, "Mr. He is already terminally ill. This kind of bet is meaningless." Yi Bufan said, "What? Don't you dare?" Gao Haisheng was a little angry when a young man in his 20s questioned his medical skills one after another. "Since you are so ignorant, I will teach you some lessons. Isn't it just a bet? If I lose, not only will I publicly apologize to Chinese medicine practitioners in authoritative publications across China, but I will also give you 1 million. It's settled." After Yi Bufan finished speaking, he turned around and handed the check in his hand to He Tianqi. "We also ask Mr. He to notarize it for us." After saying that, he was about to walk towards He Changqing's bedside, but He Shuang blocked the way and said, "Stop, you are not allowed to touch my grandpa. He is not your bet tool." Yi Bufan frowned and said, "I am here to treat your grandfather." He Shuang said stubbornly, "No need, I don't believe you. I will contact the experts from the World Medical Association again about grandpa's illness." Chao Xinghua stepped forward and said, Shuang, Xiaoye is indeed a very good Chinese doctor. Please trust him." He Shuang said, "Grandpa Chao, I only trust you in Chinese medicine. I don't believe he can cure diseases that you can't cure. Since the bet has been made, Yi Bufan naturally cannot give up halfway. In order to make this stubborn little girl believe it, he said, do you think this is good? I will make a diagnosis for Mr. He first. If the diagnosis is correct that, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page, you get out of the way, if it's not right I'll turn around and leave. He Shuang said, my grandfather is seriously ill now, you can't touch him. No problem. Our Chinese medicine talks about looking, smelling, asking and feeling. I can also determine the condition through inspection. Yi Bufan already knew He Changqing's condition very well, and he said, the old man suffered a gunshot wound to his left lung when he was young. Although the injury was not serious, he did not recover very well due to insufficient self-cultivation. In recent years, the old man drank frequently and suffered from wind and cold, which made his lung disease worse. He Shuang's expression changed. Unexpectedly, what the other party said was exactly the same as the old man's situation, but she still said stubbornly, don't say it's useless, just say how is your current condition. The condition is now very serious. The texture of both lungs is thickened, the left costophrenic angle is blunted, and the right pleura is thickened and adhesions are accompanied by effusion. There is old tuberculosis in the left upper lung, with limited mobility, and the lung lobes are shrinking. The most important point is that the lungs have become increasingly fibrotic. After saying this, even Gao Haisheng, who was holding the test sheet in his hand, changed his expression. He never expected that what this young man said was exactly the same as what he had detected with his precision instruments. He Shuang was shocked and said with a thought, I know, Grandpa Chow must have told you my grandfather's situation before, that's why you said it so clearly. Yi Bufan stopped Chao Xinghua, who was trying to defend himself, and said with a smile, since you still don't believe it, let's try another way and talk about your physical condition. He looked at He Shuang, with a joking look on his face. Generally speaking, your physical condition is pretty good. You have been practicing martial arts since you were a child. There is a scar on your right leg and an injury on your left arm. When it is cloudy and rainy, there is soreness. I feel uncomfortable in my left chest recently, and there is a lump inside, which is a symptom of hyperplasia. At the same time, because you have practiced martial arts over the years and have not taken good care of your body, you have suffered from coldness in your body and suffered from dysmenorrhea, which happened just 2 hours ago. Shut up. Although Yi Shuang is extremely forthright and has a personality close to that of a boy, as a woman, she still can't keep it off her face when she is told about her sex in public. At the same time, she was extremely shocked in her heart. If her grandfather's condition was too serious, Chao Xinghua might have told her that, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. When he complained to Yi Bufan, he had never told anyone about his mother-in-law, so how did this person know about it? He Tianqi and Gao Haisheng both opened their mouths in surprise. Although they didn't know Yi Shuang's physical condition, judging from her reaction, Yi Bufan was definitely right. This ability to see other people's situations clearly at a glance is simply beyond human imagination. Could it be that he has an X-ray machine on his eyes? The only one who was relatively calm was Chao Xinghua. He didn't have too many surprises. How could the heir of the 9 soul resurrection needles be ordinary? Seeing He Shuang stunned there, Yi Bufan just smiled slightly and ignored it. He walked around to the bed, took out the silver needle and started to treat He Changqing. He inserted the needle very quickly, and in the blink of an eye, he inserted more than a dozen silver needles into the large acupuncture points on He Changqing's chest. After the silver needle was inserted, the tail of the needle began to tremble non-stop, as if it was equipped with an electric motor, and it would not stop for a moment. 9 soul-reviving needles, this is really the soul-reviving 9 needles. Lao he is saved this time. Chao Xinghua had been watching from the side. He didn't know how to use the 9 soul-reviving needles, but he had read quite a few records and immediately concluded that Yi Bufan used this kind of acupuncture method. At first he was somewhat uneasy, but now he is convinced. At the same time, he looked extremely excited. If he could see this legendary acupuncture technique in his lifetime, he would have no regrets even if he died. Seeing his reaction, He Tianqi asked in surprise, Uncle Chow, is there anything special about the 9 soul needles this time? Chao Xinghua calmed down his excitement and said, "The 9-soul-reviving acupuncture is the supreme acupuncture method recorded in ancient Chinese medicine books. And it is not an exaggeration to call it a magic acupuncture. It concentrates the culmination of acupuncture and moxibustion. 9 needles are a summary of 9 acupuncture methods, which are nourishing qi, strengthening muscles, strengthening bones, unblocking meridians, body reshaping and soul rebirth. Legend has it that as long as you encounter the 9 soul-reviving needles, even the dead can be revived. There is a beautiful metaphor for the soul to come out and the impermanence to cry." Hearing what Chao Xinghua said was so miraculous, He Tianqi shouted excitedly, "Really? Doesn't that mean my father's illness can be cured? Is it that great?" After coming back to her senses, He Shuang just murmured in a low voice. She felt that what Chao Xinghua said was too exaggerated, but she still hoped that her grandfather could be cured, so she didn't say much, and watched Yi Bufan attentively as he used the 9 soul-reviving needles. Chapter 14 Accepting a Disciple as a Master. You are listening at NovelsThe. Yi Bufan ignored the others and concentrated on his needlework. Chao Xinghua only saw his 9 soul-reviving needles, but he didn't know that the chaos qi running in his body was the only magic weapon to cure diseases. When combined with the 9 soul-reviving needles, it could produce unexpected effects. In the silence, time passed by little. About 20 minutes later, Yi Bufan took back the silver needles one by one and said calmly, "Okay, Mr. He's illness has been cured." "I'm cured. How is this possible? Do you think we are all fools?" Although Gao Haisheng was a little curious about Yi Bufan's acupuncture technique, he never believed that just a few injections could cure the patient's lung disease, especially one that was already on the verge of death. He Shuang said, "Yes, isn't my grandfather still in a coma? It'll be ready soon." As he spoke, Yi Bufan raised his hand and patted He Changqing's pubic area. The old man exhaled a breath of turbid air, and his bloodless face immediately returned to ruddy color. He opened his eyes and suddenly sat up from the bed. Gao Haisheng was startled and took a few steps back. If it hadn't been during the day, he would have really thought that the other party was a fake corpse. He knew He Changqing's situation best. All the test data just now were extremely serious. It could be said that there was a danger of death at any time. Just like this, a person sat up from the bed, and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He Tianqi and He Shuang looked surprised. "Father, are you awake? Grandpa, you finally woke up and you scared me to death." The 2 people held He Changqing's hand and cried with joy. "Okay, you two, stop crying and let me go to the ground to move around. My bones are all rusty after lying there for so long." After He Changqing said this, he shook off the 2 people, got out of bed, and walked slowly on the ground. The pace was very slow at first, but after taking a few steps, the pace became smoother and soon returned to normal. The people watching were all amazed. Just now they were preparing for the funeral, but now they are full of life. This gap is unacceptable. For a while, Gao Haisheng was stunned with shock. After a long time, he closed his mouth and stepped forward and said, "This must not be true. This may be a flashback. Old man, I want to. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. Let me give you a physical examination." He Changqing said, "How can I talk about it? I know that my body is very good now. The king of hell will not come to see my old man again for at least 10 years. Gao Haisheng said sarcastically, "Old man, I made a mistake just now, but I always feel that it is always beneficial to have a checkup." He Shuang said, "Grandpa, you'd better check it. We can rest assured after checking it." He Changqing said, "Okay, I'll listen to you and I'll check it out." After he finished speaking, he lay down on the bed again, and Gao Haisheng and his assistants began to use the instruments for testing again. Soon the test results came out again. Looking at the test results in his hand, his eyes almost fell out. If he hadn't done the examination himself, he would have thought it was data from 2 people. The latest examination results showed that He Changqing was in excellent health, especially the pulmonary function test. Everything was normal, the fluid that originally existed in the lungs had disappeared, and there was no sign of fibrosis. "This is impossible, this is absolutely impossible." Looking at the test data in his hand, he stood there dumbfounded and just kept saying, "This is impossible." He Changqing sat up again and said to Chao Xinghua, "Old Chao, thank you this time. Needless to say, I know that you saved the old man's life." Chao Xinghua stepped forward and said, "Brother, you guessed wrong this time. My old man wanted to save you, but unfortunately he didn't have the ability. The one who snatched you back from the Lord of Hell this time was this little brother, Dr. Yi Bufan." A look of astonishment flashed across He Changqing's face. "Brother Yi, you are so young and promising. I didn't expect you to have such superb medical skills at such a young age. Thank you, old man, you gave me this life. From now on, you will be the savior of our He family. Your business is our He family's business." Yi Bufan said calmly, "You're welcome, old man. Your illness is nothing in our traditional Chinese medicine." After saying that, he turned to look at Gao Haisheng. "Dr. Gao, is it time to cash in on the bet?" Hearing what he said, everyone's eyes focused on Gao Haisheng, remembering that the two of them had just made a bet. Gao Haisheng's old face turned the color of pig liver. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. I was really impressed by Yi Bufan's medical skills, but it would still be a bit painful to spend 1 million at once. He Tianqi's face darkened. "Dr. Gao, I'm a notary. Are you planning to default on your debt?" He is now very dissatisfied with Gao Haisheng. This guy just asked him to prepare for his father's funeral one after another. Later, he said that he had returned to his former glory. Now he lost the bet and wants to default on the debt. What does it mean to be the He family? Gao Haisheng's heart trembled. He knew very well the strength of the He family, which had a very high status in Jiangnan province and even in the entire China. If the He family is dissatisfied today, he will not be able to leave Jiangnan city, or his career as a doctor will be ruined in the future. He had no choice but to take the checkbook from his assistant, write a check for 1 million yuan and give it to Yi Bufan. Yi Bufan took the check, looked at it and said, "I received the money, but don't forget your promise." "Don't worry, I will apologize to Chinese medicine practitioners in major well-known media in China tomorrow." After Gao Haisheng finished speaking, he left the He family dejectedly. As soon as he left, Chao Xinghua came over and said to Yi Bufan, "Old man, I want to become your teacher." What do you think? What he said was not a joke. Ever since he saw the 9 soul-reviving needles, he had already admired this young man and was about to kneel down to worship him. Yi Bufan was taken aback and quickly supported him. "Old man, this is not okay. I don't dare to accept you as my disciple." He still admires Mr. Chao's character very much. He is an old man who sincerely contributes to the development of traditional Chinese medicine. Chao Xinghua said with an unhappy face, "Xiaoye, do you dislike the old man? I really want to learn Chinese medicine from you." Yi Bufan hurriedly said, "This is true, you are so respected, how can you accept me as your teacher? Do you think this is a good idea? No matter what you learn in the future, I promise you will never keep it secret. That won't work. Our Chinese medicine is passed down by lecturers. That's an unfair name. I have to accept you as my teacher." Chao Xinghua said, "In our field of Chinese medicine, we value those who are experienced as our teachers. Don't worry about your age." Seeing that the old man was determined not to give up until he reached his goal, Yi Bufan could only smile bitterly and said, "No matter what, I don't dare to accept you as a disciple. How about this? Otherwise, I will accept you as a disciple on my behalf, and you will be my disciple. Under my teacher's tutelage." Chapter 15 Uncle. You are listening at NovelsThe. Chao Xinghua focused on learning medical skills and didn't care about anything else. He nodded and said, "That's fine, you will be my senior brother from now on. Senior brother, please accept my bow." As a traditional Chinese medicine doctor, Chao Xinghua still respects the rules handed down from the Chinese ancestors very much, and he sincerely pays homage to them. Well. Seeing the old man with big eyebrows and beard bowing to him and addressing him as senior brother, Yi Bufan still felt a little weird, but this was the best result. After the matter was agreed upon, He Tianqi ordered people to set up an incense table and place Yi Xiaoyao's memorial tablet. Then Chao Xinghua kowtowed and became a disciple. Yi Bufan replaced Yi Xiaoyao and accepted Chao Xinghua into the ancient medicine sect and became a peripheral disciple. After all the etiquette was completed, He Changqing said, "Brother Chao, Brother Yi is your senior brother now. The three of us will be friends as equals from now on." After he said this, He Tianqi and He Shuangshuang were dumbfounded. Doesn't this mean that they have become juniors, especially He Shuangshuang, who was glaring at Yi Bufan just now, but now he has become his grandson? He Changqing didn't care about this at all. He raised his hand and called He Tianqi over and said, "Third brother, why don't you come over and see your uncle Yi?" Well. He Tianqi looked embarrassed. After all, he was also a well-known big boss in Jiangnan, and he believed in both black and white. It was a bit unreasonable to ask him to call a young man uncle. Yi Bufan said, "Forget it, let's call each other our own, and we will be friends as equals from now on." He Tianqi then took a deep breath, patted his chest and said, "Brother Yi, if anything happens in Jiangnan from now on, just speak up and I will definitely settle it for you." He passed this level, but He Changqing had no intention of letting He Shuangshuang go. He waved over and said, "Shuangshuang, hurry up and see your uncle Yi." Yi Shuangshuang stamped her feet angrily and shouted, "Grandpa, I won't scream, he's not as old as me yet." He Changqing said solemnly, "Shuangshuang, we must not act without rules, and etiquette must not be discarded." A big family like theirs still attaches great importance to traditional etiquette, but this time Yi Bufan didn't speak, he just looked at He Shuangshuang with a smile. This girl had just caused a lot of trouble for herself. How could he let go of the opportunity to tease her? He Shuangshuang glanced at He Changqing and knew that he would not be able to pass today's test. In the end, he could only say helplessly, "Hello, uncle." He spoke in a low voice. "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." It was almost inaudible. Yi Bufan took out his ears and said, "As people get older, their ears don't work well." "I didn't hear what you said clearly." Seeing him pretending to be senior in front of her, Yi Shuangshuang gritted her teeth with hatred, but because of He Changqing's face, she could only say loudly again, "Hello, uncle, did you hear me this time?" I heard it. Yi Bufan said, "Since I called you uncle, I naturally have to express my gratitude. Take this and take the medicine according to the prescription, and you will be fine soon." After he finished speaking, he took the pen and paper, wrote a prescription and sent it to He Shuangshuang. After seeing Yi Bufan's medical skills, He Changqing naturally knew that every prescription he prescribed was worth tens of thousands of gold, and he quickly said, "Girl, please thank your uncle quickly." "Thank you, uncle." He Shuangshuang said this, but in his heart he hated Yi Bufan. He gritted his teeth and swore secretly that one day he would fall into his hands and he would teach this guy a lesson. At this moment, Yi Bufan's cell phone rang, and it was Qin Chuchu's call. "Xiaofan, where are you?" After experiencing two incidents, Qin Chuchu became much closer to him, and their titles were very affectionate. "I'm outside, what's wrong?" "We agreed to have dinner together. There is a new Zui Jiangnan restaurant in Jiangnan City. The food there is delicious. I have booked private room number 1. See you there at 6 o'clock in the evening." Qin Chuchu hung up the phone after speaking. Yi Bufan's affairs were almost settled, and he didn't want to stay any longer. He said to He Changqing and Chao Xinghua, "I still have some things to do, so I'll leave first." "Well, we three brothers will have a drink some other time when we have time." He Changqing said to He Shuangshuang, "Girl, drive your uncle back." He Shuangshuang was depressed to death, but he had to listen to his grandfather's words, so he could only pout it and led Yi Bufan out of the room. After going out, she immediately took out the prescription in her pocket, tore it into pieces, and threw it into the trash can next to her. As if this could vent some of her anger, Yi Bufan just smiled slightly. The lump on this girl's chest was not optimistic. Now that she had thrown away her prescription, she would be better off sooner or later. Arriving in the yard, He Shuangshuang was about to walk towards his Lamborghini sports car when he suddenly saw a Jetta parked nearby. This is the car used by the He family to buy groceries for the nanny. It is never locked when it is left there, and the key is in the car. "Humph, I dare to take advantage of this girl." This chapter is not finished. please turn the page. Instead of sending you a sports car, it would be nice to have you take a Jetta." With this in mind, He Shuang walked directly to the Jetta, opened the car door and said, "Get in." Yi Bufan naturally saw her little thoughts, but he didn't care about it. He opened the passenger door and got in. He Shuang drove out of the villa and asked angrily, "Where are you going?" "Jiangnan Medical University, there is a kitchenware store on the road." "Stop for me. I want to buy something." He Shuang didn't seem to want to say a word to him, so he drove forward and stopped in front of a large kitchenware mall. About half an hour later, Yi Bufan said, "Would you like to go shopping with me?" "I'm not going." "Move quickly. If you're slow, I won't wait for you." He Shuang said angrily. The thought of calling this guy who was not older than her uncle made her feel uncontrollably angry. Yi Bufan smiled slightly, turned around and entered the kitchenware store. As soon as he entered the door, a yellow-haired gangster next to him took out his mobile phone and dialed a phone number. "Boss, I saw the boy that Mr. Xiang was looking for, with a woman." The person on the phone said, "Who is that woman? Is she the eldest lady of the Qin family?" Xiao Huangmao said, "No, that woman drives a broken Jetta. She doesn't look like a rich person at first glance." "That's good. If you keep an eye over there, I'll take someone there right away." Xiao Huangmao hung up the phone and stared at the door of the kitchenware store. Yi Bufan quickly walked out of the store, carrying several large and small boxes in his hands. He has now collected the medicinal materials for refining the foundation establishment pill, but he does not have a pill furnace, so he can only buy some kitchen utensils to deal with it. He put these things into the back seat of the Jetta, then sat in the passenger seat, and the two of them continued to drive forward. Not long after the car drove out, several off-road vehicles suddenly rushed over and surrounded the Jetta. Then, a dozen gangsters holding steel pipe daggers jumped out of the car. The leader was a bald man holding a long machete in his hand. He chopped the front windshield of the Jetta into pieces with one blow, then pointed at the car and shouted, "Get out of here!" The gangsters behind him also waved the steel pipes in their hands unceremoniously, and they fell on the Jetta. In the blink of an eye, they smashed the 80% new Jetta into pieces. Chapter 16 Iron Head Kung Fu. You are listening at NovelsThe.audio. He Shuang was a little confused by what she saw. She was also a dignified deputy captain of the criminal police team, but someone dared to smash her car. She was already very angry at Yi Bufan, and now she was even more furious. She kicked the car door open, jumped out of the car, pointed at her bald head and shouted, "What are you going to do?" Seeing the formation of these people, Yi Bufan immediately knew that Xiang Yunfei had come for them. However, he was not in a hurry to take action. Since these people of the He family were offended by these blind actions, he was naturally happy to enjoy the show. He also got out of the car and stood next to He Shuang, looking at the gangsters in front of him with a narrow look on his face. He Shuang shouted to the gangsters in front of him, "Squat down and hold your head with your hands. I am a policeman." The bald man had just arrived in Jiangnan City and did not recognize the deputy captain of the criminal police team in front of him. His lewd eyes kept wandering around He Shuang's body, and he said with a joking face, "Little girl, you are the only one who is still a policeman. Why don't you just say that you are the captain of the criminal police team?" "You are really right. I am the deputy captain of the criminal police team." "Put down the murder weapon in your hand quickly and put your head in your hands. It's really boring. You can brag so little and have no courage at all, just to brag about a vice-captain." The bald man burst out laughing, and then said, "Do you think we brothers are easy to fool? If you are the vice-captain of the team, I will be the director." At this time, Xiao Huangmao came over and said, "Brother Taitu, this little girl is so damn beautiful. Why don't we brothers take her back and have fun?" "That's a good idea." The bald man said, "Brothers, break both of that kid's legs and take this little bitch back. Everyone will have fun tonight." "Good." Xiao Huangmao had been fascinated by He Shuang for a long time. After hearing the order, he immediately stretched out his big pig's hooves and grabbed He Shuang. Yi Bufan had already seen it during the diagnosis. This girl had been practicing martial arts since she was a child. Although she had not yet stepped into the threshold of a martial artist, she was much better than ordinary people. Sure enough, he Shuang, who was already angry, roared, "You are looking for death." Then he raised his legs and kicked Xiao Huangmao's stomach hard with a 10-centimeter long high heel. Before everyone could admire her long, slender, and straight legs, Xiao Huangmao was kicked and flew up, falling down in front of the bald head with a thud. Ah, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Huang Mao let out a heartrending scream, and he felt as if his intestines were being kicked out, and he was writhing in pain on the ground. Young lady, you're still a practicing master. Although the bald head was a little surprised, he didn't take it too seriously and said with a sneer, "It's interesting, come with me, I'll see how many she can handle." As for Yi Bufan next to him, he completely ignored him. He could kill a pretty boy like this with one slap. The gangsters pounced on He Shuang one after another, at first with bare hands, and later even using steel pipe knives, but they were still no match. A few minutes later, these people were beaten to the ground, and the sound of crying for their fathers and mothers could be heard. 50 or 60 meters away from them, there was an SUV parked, and Xiang Yintian was sitting in the car looking at everything in front of him. Sitting next to him was a middle-aged man with a pair of large sunglasses on his face and a ferocious-looking cobra tattooed on his chest. He is the famous gangster leader in this area, the boss of the bald guys. Because of his ruthless behavior, everyone calls him Cobra. Seeing that the people he was looking for were all put down to the ground by He Shuang, Xiang Yintian said with some worry, "Brother Snake, you guys are not good, how come you can't even beat a woman?" Cobra was very indifferent. He took a sip from the cigar in his hand and said, "Why are you so anxious? They are just some minions. The real master among my people is Tai Tu. He has practiced martial arts in the Shaolin Temple since he was a child, and has practiced hard kung fu, especially his iron head, which is almost invulnerable. If he hadn't killed the son of a rich man in the north a few days ago, he would not have come to me for refuge. Don't worry, this guy is playing a cat and mouse game with that chick, he'll take action soon." Xiang Yintian breathed a sigh of relief, took a black suitcase from the side and said, "Brother Snake, this is the 200,000 we agreed on. I want that boy's legs. Throw it in the car. I, the Cobra, always keep my word." At this point, he suddenly frowned and looked at He Shuang. "Who is this woman? Why does she look familiar?" That he originally knew the eldest lady of the He family. The most important thing to keep his eyes open when hanging around outside was to know that there are some people in Jiangnan City who must not be provoked and must be kept in mind at all times, but their position was a little far away from He Shuang, and from this angle, they were always looking at their backs. For a moment, they just felt a little familiar, but didn't recognize them. Xiang Yintian said indifferently, "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." He said, "Why does he do so much? He's just a girl driving a broken Jetta. What kind of background can he have?" Cobra also relaxed after hearing what he said. Indeed, among the wealthy young men and young ladies in Jiangnan City, who doesn't drive a $1 million luxury car, who would drive a Jetta like this? He never dreamed that this Jetta was driven by the eldest daughter of the He family specifically for Yi Bufan. At this time, Bald Tu saw that all his men had been knocked down. He took 2 steps forward and said with a haughty look, "Young lady, your skills are indeed good. The hotter the woman, the more flavorful she is. She is very suitable for my brother Tai Tu. Appetite, but let me tell you, you will not be my iron-headed opponent no matter what. Come into my arms quickly and obediently, and I will not pursue what happened today. Go to hell." He Shuang shouted angrily, raised his hand and punched the bald head in the face. A sneer appeared at the corner of the bald man's mouth, but he lowered his head slightly and faced it with his big bald head. There was only a crisp sound, and the fist hit the bald head firmly. As a result, the bald man stood there motionless, while He Shuang took several steps back. She felt a burning pain in her hand, as if her bones were broken. She raised her hand and looked at it. Her small fist, which was originally white and lubricated, was swollen. The bald man raised his hand and touched his big head, and said with a smile, "How are you, little girl? Now you know how powerful brother Tai Tu is, right?" He Shuang has always been stubborn and would not give in easily. She snorted and attacked the bald head again, but this time she didn't use her fists, she used her legs, and in one move she struck down hard from top to bottom. Bufan looked at him and shook his head. Everyone said he had big breasts and no brains, and it was true. It's obvious that this guy has some skills with his iron head, but you still hit him on the head. Can't you change the place? Like kicking him in the balls. Shuang didn't think that much at all. At this time, her long legs had hit the bald head hard. There was only a click. There was no damage to the bald head, but the 10-centimeter high heels were broken instantly. She was obviously not mentally prepared for this. When she retracted her right leg, one foot was high and the other was low. She was caught off guard and staggered, almost falling to the ground. When she stabilized her body, she saw the bald man's big face with a lewd smile appeared in front of her, and a big furry hand grabbed her chest. Chapter 17 Beating into Sakyamuni. You are listening at NovelsThe.audio. Shuang was shocked and angry, but now it was too late for her to dodge. Seeing that the opponent's big hand was about to grab his chest, at the critical moment, another hand suddenly appeared out of thin air and grabbed the bald man's wrist. Baldhead felt as if his hand was clamped by an iron vise, and he could not move it no matter how hard he tried. This surprised him. He turned around and saw that the one who took action was Bufan, who had been watching the show next to him. Boy, if you dare to attack me, let me show you how powerful Brother Tai-Tu is. Although his wrist was grabbed, the bald man did not panic. He focused all his efforts on his head and suddenly lowered his head and bumped into Bufan's chest. In his opinion, the other party would definitely let go and avoid it, otherwise he would have to lie in bed for a year and a half even if he didn't die if he was hit by his iron head. You must know that his iron head skill has reached the level of Xiaocheng. He can break even a small tree as big as a bowl with one head, and it is easy to break open monuments and rocks, but what he didn't expect was that Bufan had no intention of giving in. He raised his right hand and punched it hard. Seeing this scene, Shuang exclaimed, "No, his head is very powerful." After suffering losses twice in a row, she finally realized how powerful the bald man's iron skills were, but at this moment, a muffled bang was heard, and Bufan's fist collided hard with the bald head. However, unlike Shuang just now, this time Bufan did not move at all, but the bald head flew 6 or 7 meters away and fell to the ground with a plop. At that moment, he felt as if his head had been hit by a train, and he felt as if he was almost exploded. He raised his hand and touched it, and found a lump as big as an egg bulged on the iron head that could have cracked the stone. The slightest touch would cause a heartbreaking pain. How can this be? That the bald man was shocked. Even if his head was hit with a brick or a stone, this would not happen. Could it be that the opponent's fist was harder than a hammer? Bufan didn't care so much. Since the other party wanted his legs, he wouldn't be polite. With a movement of his feet, he came to the bald head, raised his fist and smashed it down like raindrops, not hitting other places, but hitting the bald head specifically. Pa, 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 pa. The sound of punches hitting the flesh resounded in the air, and the bald man's iron head was filled with blood bags one after another. In less than 2 minutes. This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. He had been beaten so hard that his head was covered with bruises, and he looked like a living Buddha. Inside the SUV, Cobra and Xiang Yintian were stunned. None of them expected that Bufan's skills were so powerful. Xiang Yintian said anxiously, "Brother Snake, are you not good enough? Call someone again quickly." The Cobra shouted angrily, "What the hell, Tai-Tu is the best among my men, who else can I call him? Didn't you fucking say he was just an ordinary person? You actually found such a master for me. If I had known he was so powerful, I wouldn't have helped you do this for even 2 million, not to mention 200,000. Seeing the Cobra getting angry, Xiang Yintian said quickly, "Brother Snake, don't be angry. I checked, he is just a poor boy with no background, his skills are useless. Now he beat someone, let's call the police. My cousin is in the criminal police team, if he sees it, he will not be killed." Cobra shook his head and said, "No, these people under me are not clean, especially the bald heads, and they still have human lives on their bodies. If you call the police, won't they be completely finished?" Xiang Yintian said, "Brother Snake, don't worry, we are the victims now, and it will be my cousin who comes later. I will definitely not check their identities, just arrest the kid. This. Cobra hesitated a little, always feeling that something was not right, but at this time Xiang Yintian had already made the call. Yi Bufan felt that he was almost done with the fight, so he raised his bald head by the collar and said, "Aren't you the Iron Head Kung Fu? Are you still practicing?" That the bald man shook his head, and it took a lot of effort to see the face of the young man in front of him clearly. He was completely blinded, and it felt like there were little stars in front of his eyes and little bees in his ears. He didn't understand why the young man in front of him was so powerful with his fists. Even if he hit his head against a rock back then, it wouldn't be as miserable as it is now. No more practice. No more practice. Brother, I really surrender to you, please let me go this time. That the bald man felt that if he hit him again, his head would really explode. After this experience, he had a shadow in his heart, and he was afraid that he would never dare to use his iron head again. Yi Bufan turned around and said to the dumbfounded He Shuangshuang, "How about it? Do you want to give me a few punches to vent your anger?" That He Shuangshuang looked at the young man in front of him with a complicated expression. When he was standing nearby watching the excitement, he thought he was a coward and a useless man, but he didn't expect that he was so skilled. "She is dissatisfied, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page," that he said. "You are so good at Kung Fu, why didn't you come over to help just now? Are you just waiting to see me make a fool of myself? You were quite happy with the fight, and you didn't ask me to take action. Sister, am I helping you now? Shouldn't you be thanking me?" Yi Bufan felt depressed for a while. Other heroes saved beauties, but the beauties threw themselves into their arms. Why was it completely different when he came here? "Thank you, big-headed devil," He Shuangshuang was quite grateful. If this man hadn't taken action, he would have been humiliated by his bald head just now, but for some reason, she just didn't want to bow in front of Yi Bufan. In order to vent her anger, she took off her other intact high-heeled shoe, grabbed her bald head and beat her violently. The bald man's head had already been hit to no good place, and when he was hit hard by the 10 centimeters high heels, he screamed in pain like a pig. Yi Bufan said, "Okay, stop hitting me. If you hit me again, I will kill you." He Shuangshuang was almost done venting, and his mood felt much better. At this moment, a siren sounded, and 6 or 7 police cars rushed from a distance. After the cars stopped, more than a dozen police officers jumped out, led by a middle-aged man. Inside the SUV, Xiang Yintian slapped his thigh hard when he saw the man, and shouted excitedly, "Great, my cousin is here in person, that kid is dead. Whoever asked you to fight here, stop it." The middle-aged man's name was Wang Chang, a squadron leader of the criminal police team. When he arrived at the scene, he shouted loudly. When he rushed forward and saw He Shuangshuang, his expression suddenly changed. "Captain He, why are you here?" Hearing his shout, the bald man who had just stood up began to spin again, and fell to the ground with an ordinary sound. "What the hell did you do?" It turned out that what this woman said was true. She was really a police officer and a captain. He Shuangshuang pointed at the gangsters on the ground and shouted, "These people surrounded me with weapons and smashed my car. Take them all back and check to see who sent them." Wang Chang was shocked. He dared to attack his vice-captain and the eldest daughter of the He family. Are these people crazy? Or do you feel that living outside is too satisfying? Catch them all and take them back to the police force. He took the lead in taking out a pair of handcuffs and locked up the bald man. The other police officers also took action and arrested the other gangsters into the police car. Chapter 18: The He Family's Medical Expenses. You are listening at NovelsThe. After the gangsters were brought into the car, Wang Chang looked at Yi Bufan and said, "Captain He, who is this?" Yi Bufan said, "Oh, I am her uncle." Seeing that this guy was taking advantage of him again, He Shuangshuang glared at him fiercely. "My car was smashed, and there are so many people waiting to be dealt with. Go back by yourself." "Can," Yi Bufan said, opening the car door and taking out his things. He didn't want to stay with Yi Shuangshuang for too long. If he knew that these gangsters were here for him, this woman might do something else. He carried the pots and pans in his hands and walked towards the school. Inside the SUV, Xiang Yintian looked confused. The police had indeed arrived, but they didn't follow the routine. It was not Bufan who was arrested, but the people he found. Cobra shouted angrily, "Xiang Yintian, what's going on? Why did your cousin take all my people away?" Xiang Yintian hesitated and said, I don't know either. I'm telling you, Mr. Xiang, if you don't get my people out of the bureau today, I will never be done with you. Cobra was talking when Shuang turned around and glanced in their direction. When he saw clearly that the woman was Shuang, he was almost ready to die. He actually asked his men to besiege the eldest daughter of the He family, the deputy captain of the criminal police team. Isn't this the birthday girl who always hangs himself? Isn't it too long-lived? What is the status of the He family in Jiangnan City? You can crush him to death with just a snap of your fingers. If he had known this, he wouldn't have dared to take this job even if he was given 2 billion, not to mention 200,000. After all, no matter how much money he had to live to spend it. Thinking of this, he was so angry that he grabbed Xiang Yintian's neck and cursed, "Xiang, you have tricked me to death. You dared me to attack the eldest daughter of the He family. What the hell do you want to do?" At this time, Xiang Yintian also saw Shuang and struggled to push away Cobra's hand. "Brother Snake, I don't know. Who would have thought that the eldest daughter of the He family would drive around in a broken Jetta?" Cobra said angrily, "I don't care. Anyway, this incident all happened because of you. You must get everyone out of the bureau and give me 10 million as compensation." 10 million? Although Xiang Yintian's family has a lot of money, 10 million is definitely not a small number. He said, "Brother Snake, is 10 million too much?" Cobra, this chapter is not finished, please turn the page. It was his turn to have a big mouth on his face. "What the hell, I offended the eldest lady of the He family, why don't you spend money to settle the matter? This 10 million is not necessarily enough, I will kill you for any less." Thinking of the Cobra's cruelty, Xiang Yintian said quickly, "Brother Snake, don't be angry. I will give you the money. I will definitely give it to you." At this moment, he hated Bufan so much. He really didn't know what kind of bad luck this kid had, to be able to end up with the eldest lady of the He family. After Chao Xinghua left the He family, He Tianqi said to He Changqing, "Father, we forgot one thing today. We didn't pay the little miracle doctor's consultation fee." He Changqing said, "Your father, I am not confused yet, how could I forget?" He Tianqi said in surprise, "Father, what do you mean?" He Changqing said, "I have been a soldier all my life, and I have met countless people in my life. People like little miracle Dr. Yi will definitely become great in the future, and our He family must make good friends with him. This time he saved my life, which also happens to be an opportunity for our He family. We must seize the opportunity to get closer to him. If we just give him some money, I'm afraid it will be difficult to make the little miracle doctor look at him differently. Therefore, our consultation fee must be innovative this time, so that he can feel the sincerity of our He family." Oh, He Tianqi somewhat understood what He Changqing meant, which was to try his best to win over Bufan. He very much agreed with this. Let's not talk about what will happen in the future. It is not a bad thing to have a good relationship with a miracle doctor. It is equal to an extra life at a critical moment, he said. "Father, what do you think is appropriate for our He family to pay for consultation?" He Changqing said, "Gift giving is also very learned. As the saying goes, giving help in times of need is to give people what they need in order to be fully effective. You immediately send someone to investigate the little miracle doctor's background and see what he needs most right now, and then our He family will provide it with both hands." "I know, Father." He Tianqi agreed and left the room to arrange for his men to handle the matter. Bufan didn't know this. He saw that it was still early for dinner, so he entered a 5-star hotel nearby with the kitchen utensils and medicinal materials in his hands. In any case, the school is also a dormitory, and there are so many people coming and going that it is not suitable for refining medicine by yourself. In comparison, the hotel is quieter. He opened a room and walked in with his things. When the cell phone in his pocket rang, I took out my phone and took a look. It was an unfamiliar phone number ending with 38. He pressed the answer button and asked, "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." Who are you looking for?" A woman's voice came from the other side of the phone. "I'm Zhu Linlin." Yi Bufan immediately became excited. He had been unable to get through his girlfriend's phone calls since the holiday and thought something had happened. He called eagerly, "Linlin, where are you? Why can't I find you these days? I changed my phone number, why didn't you tell me earlier?" That he had been looking for Zhu Linlin these past few days, wanting to share his good news with her, but unfortunately he couldn't get through on the phone. Zhu Linlin said in a cold voice, "You don't need to know where I am. Today I want to tell you that we broke up." "Linlin, what are you talking about?" Yi Bufan suddenly felt like cold water was poured on him, and his originally extremely excited mood slowly calmed down. He didn't expect that he had not contacted his girlfriend for so many days, and he proposed to break up as soon as he contacted his girlfriend. "Don't you understand what I said? From today on, we break up and we will never have any relationship again." Yi Bufan shouted, "Why? There must be a reason for breaking up, right?" He attached great importance to this relationship, thinking that Zhu Linlin was the person he could grow old with, and never thought that the other party would break up with her. "Yi Bufan, are you still embarrassed to ask me for a reason?" Zhu Linlin shouted sarcastically over the phone, "Have you seen my phone number? It was given to me by Master Ma just now. It's the latest fruit phone and a 3-connected phone number. Do you know how much these all cost together? I have been with you for so long, what have you given me? As poor as you are, I'm afraid you won't be able to buy me a fruit phone in your lifetime." Hearing the accusation, Yi Bufan said with complicated emotions, "Linlin, did you break up with me just for money?" "Yes, I just do it for money. Who doesn't like money?" Zhu Linlin said, "I was with Mr. Ma for 3 months. He bought me Chanel perfume, Prada shoes, and LV bags. I spent a full 100,000 yuan on it. Young Master Ma is rich, not something a poor girl like you can compare to." "What? You've been with him for 3 months, Yi Bufan felt a surge of anger in his heart. Zhu Linlin had been so tender and affectionate with him a few days ago, but she didn't expect that she had already betrayed him. "So what? Who made you a poor man? From today on, we will have no relationship anymore. Don't come to me again in the future." After Zhu Linlin finished speaking, she hung up the phone with a bang. Chapter 19 Money-Worshipping Ex-Girlfriend. You are listening at NovelsThe.audio. Yi Bufan hung up the phone and was stunned for a while, with a self-deprecating smile on his lips. He had always thought that what he had was a pure and flawless love that would not be contaminated by society's material things. He did not expect that the final result would be like this. The most ridiculous thing is that Zhu Linlin broke up with him because of money. As the inheritor of ancient medicine, how could he be short of money? Making money only takes a matter of minutes. He took out $2 million checks in his pocket. He had prepared one for his mother and one for Zhu Linlin, but now it seems that Zhu Linlin's one is not needed. Later, he also figured out that this was also a good thing. It allowed him to see the true face of this money-worshipping girl in advance, which was much better than being kept in the dark all the time. After thinking about it clearly, he felt much better, took out the kitchen utensils he purchased and started refining the foundation establishment pill. Using kitchen utensils to make elixirs is much worse than using alchemy furnaces. Fortunately, the foundation building elixir is not a high-level elixir, so it can be completed this way. 2 hours later, 3 black foundation building pills appeared in his palm. Although they looked bumpy and not as beautiful as those refined in the pill furnace, their efficacy was not much different. He took out an elixir and swallowed it into his mouth, then started to circulate chaos qi. The elixir melted in the mouth, and soon there was a reaction in the dantian, boiling like boiling water. The true energy is getting stronger and stronger, constantly flushing the 7 meridians and 8 meridians in the body. Under the guidance of Yi Bufan's spiritual consciousness, the surging true energy is like the raging Yangtze River rushing through the limbs and veins. As time went by, his body was slowly filled with more and more pure qi, and finally it felt as if his body was about to explode. Just when he felt like he couldn't hold on any longer, the pressure suddenly eased, and a drop of water as big as a pea appeared in his dantian. Yi Bufan's spiritual consciousness clearly saw the changes in his dantian. The true energy changed from gaseous to liquid. This is the characteristic of foundation building, which means that he has successfully entered the foundation building stage. After practicing for a while, the surging true energy in the body was completely refined, and 3 more drops of liquid true energy appeared in the dantian. After a while, Bufan slowly opened his eyes. At this moment, he could already feel how powerful he was. Compared with the previous chi refining period, his cultivation level had improved more than 10 times. At the same time, his consciousness has also been greatly improved, from 2 meters to 5 meters, and he can clearly see everything happening in the next room. He went to the bathroom and took a cold shower. After seeing that the time was almost up, he left the hotel and went to a bank downstairs to pay a check for 2 million. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page, change it into cash and put it into the card, then rush towards the Zhujiangnan restaurant that Qin Chu mentioned. The Dong family has unique experience in catering. Zhujiangnan restaurant has become an upstart in the catering industry in Jiangnan City just after its completion, and its popularity has exploded. The entire restaurant adopts a retro architectural style, which looks magnificent, simple and luxurious at the same time. The waiters in the hotel are all tall and good-looking, and the Chongsan they wear makes their slim figures even more charming. After he entered, a waiter immediately greeted him. "Sir, do you have a reservation?" "VIP room number 1. Bufan revealed the room number Qin Chu booked. "Sir, please come with me." The waiter took him to the VIP room on the top floor very respectfully. Before Qin Chu came, the waiter poured a glass of water and backed out. Bufan sat on the leather sofa and looked around. Although there were only 2 people dining, the private room was 30 or 40 square meters in size. The decoration was extremely luxurious. The sofa was made of leather and the tableware was made of sterling silver. He had lived an extremely poor life since he was a child. This was the first time for him to visit such a high-end place. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Rich people really know how to enjoy it. At this time, the mobile phone in his pocket rang. He glanced at the caller ID and saw that it was Dong Tianda. After the call was connected, Dong Tianda said politely, "Dr. Yi, where are you? Didn't I say that I would send you a restaurant that day? The formalities have just been completed, and I will send it to you now." Bufan said, "I am in the VIP room number 1 of Zhujiangnan restaurant." Dong Tianda said, "Really? That's such a coincidence. What our Dong family wants to give you is this Zhujiangnan restaurant. I'm nearby. I'll be there in a moment." Bufan hung up the phone and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Such a luxurious restaurant cost at least tens of millions. He didn't expect that it would become his own soon. A few days ago, he was a poor boy who couldn't afford 100 yuan. He didn't expect to become a multimillionaire so quickly, and just a few hours ago, my girlfriend kicked me away because of money. It was really a twist of fate. Thinking of this, he was slightly absent-minded and accidentally knocked over the water glass in front of him. Normally, in such a high-end place, there is no need for him to do it himself. He can just ask the waiter to come and clean up, but he was originally a child from a poor family and was not used to trouble others. He reached out and grabbed the paper towel next to him and started to clean up the water stains on the table. This chapter is not finished. Please turn the page. At this moment, the door to the private room opened and 2 people walked in. He thought Qin Chu was coming, but when he looked back, he saw a young man and woman standing in front of the door. The man was about 30 years old. He was wearing a crisp suit and an exaggerated gold watch on his wrist. He looked like a successful man. The woman next to her looked even more coquettish, wearing a pink skirt, carrying a purple LV bag, and a green jade bracelet on her hand. "It's you, why are you here?" Bufan said in surprise. He didn't know the young man, and that woman was his ex-girlfriend Zhu Linlin. He didn't expect that the 2 of them would meet here so soon after they just broke up. "Of course I'm here to eat, but you, how can you come to this place?" It was also the first time for Zhu Linlin to dine in such a high-end place. As soon as she entered the door, she was extremely shocked by the luxurious decoration in the restaurant. Just now she lamented that if she followed Bufan, she would never be able to enter such a high-end place in her life. Unexpectedly, the 2 of them would meet here. Do you still need to ask? It's obvious that he is the waiter here. Before Bufan could speak, the young man said first, Lin Lin, do you know this person? Zhu Linlin said, my dear, this is the ex-boyfriend Yi Bufan I told you, but now I have kicked him. She then said to Yi Bufan, let me introduce you, this is my boyfriend, Ma Wenba, the eldest son of the Ma family. Ma Wenba glanced at Yi Bufan contemptuously and said, ex-boyfriend, Lin Lin, I really don't understand what you were thinking before. How could you find such a poor guy as your boyfriend? Zhu Linlin sighed, I was young and didn't understand love at that time, so I was deceived by this poor woman out of nowhere. Yi Bufan said coldly, Zhu Linlin, I have no problem with you breaking up, but we get along and break up. When did I lie to you? Zhu Linlin said, if it weren't for your sweet words, how could I have fallen in love with you, a poor woman whose pockets are cleaner than your face? Yi Bufan felt angry in his heart and said angrily, when did I talk so sweetly? It was you who chased me in the first place, okay? Okay, who are you? How dare you talk to my woman like this? Ma Wenba said with a haughty look, what happened before is in the past. Aren't you a waiter in the hotel? Now my shoes are dirty, please wipe them for me. Chapter 20 Let's see who dares to move. You are listening at NovelsThe. As he spoke, he stretched out one foot, spat on the dark and shiny big leather shoes, and then said, I made these handmade by a famous Italian tailor. They cost more than 20,000 yuan a pair. Be careful, or they will scratch you. Can't afford to pay. Although this guy spent the whole day drinking and playing with countless women, when he heard that this was his woman's ex-boyfriend, he immediately felt unsatisfied from the bottom of his heart. In addition, from the bottom of his heart, he did not think highly of the poor boy in front of him, so he wanted to step on Yi Bufan severely and show off his superiority. Yi Bufan's face turned cold instantly. Get out of here. How are you talking? What's wrong with letting you shine shoes? Zhu Linlin shouted confidently, you are the waiter here, and young Master Ma is a distinguished guest here. Shouldn't you shine shoes for distinguished guests? Ma Wenba said with a proud look on his face, seeing that you haven't even worn a waiter's uniform yet, you must have just arrived, right? I'm very familiar with Boss Dong here. As long as you serve me as a young master to your satisfaction, I can make you a full-time employee with just one word. You can even become a foreman. Zhu Linlin then said, did you hear that? This is the gap between people, correct your position, you are a poor girl, you have to try to be a waiter, and young Master Ma can decide your fate at any time. Seeing Zhu Linlin's face, Yi Bufan felt a feeling of extreme disgust in his heart. This woman had hidden it so well before that she didn't even notice that she was such a person. At the same time, I was secretly glad that I had broken up with her. Thinking of this, he waved his hand and said, okay, you can go out, I don't want to argue with you. Don't you care about us? Ma Wenba suddenly seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world, and burst out laughing. Then his expression changed, and he pointed at Yi Bufan and said, I have changed my mind now, lick my shoes clean immediately, otherwise, when I call the manager, I will fire you right away and make you unable to become a trainee waiter. Zhu Linlin said, did you hear that? You can earn 3,000 to 5,000 yuan a month as a waiter here, which is enough for your tuition next semester. Do what Mr. Ma said quickly, otherwise you will regret it. Yi Bufan was completely irritated by these two idiots. He came over and grabbed Ma Wenba by the collar, raised his hand and threw him out of the private room. Then he pointed at Zhu Linlin and said, I don't hit women, so get out of here. Yi Bufan, you have grown up, haven't you? How dare you touch young Master Ma? This chapter is not finished, please turn the page. Zhu Linlin hurriedly ran out and helped Ma Wenba up from the ground. Boy, how dare you fucking hit me? Ma Wenba was almost going crazy. He wanted to rush over and fight Yi Bufan, but he didn't have the courage. He hesitated and shouted at the top of his lungs, where is the manager? How do you open this restaurant? The waiters dare to hit the guests. Zhu Linlin also yelled at the top of her lungs, come quickly, the waiter is beating me. Hearing their shouts, the restaurant manager Zhang Daqing hurried over and said with a flattering look on his face, Master Ma, when did you come? Ma Wenba is a playboy who spends his days eating, drinking and having fun. He has been in the catering industry for so many years and has known him well before. He knows that this is the eldest son of the Ma family and he is a very rich man. Seeing that he met an old acquaintance, Ma Wenbo became even more arrogant, pointed at Yi Bufan and shouted, "Manager Zhang, do you still want to open your restaurant?" The waiter dares to hit the guests. Zhang Duqing followed his finger and said, "Young Master Ma, you misunderstood. He is not our waiter." Ma Wenbo shouted, "This is absolutely impossible. I just saw him cleaning the table, how could he not be your waiter?" Zhu Linlin then said, "That's right, how can he be a guest if he's not a waiter? He's just a poor bitch, his pockets are cleaner than his face. How can he have money to eat here?" Yi Bufan didn't say anything. The restaurant now belonged to him. He wanted to see how the manager handled the matter and whether it was worthy of his continued appointment in the future. Zhang Duqing said with a flattering face, "Young Master Ma, you really misunderstood. Our waiters here all dress uniformly. This is the first time I have seen him. Not a waiter." Ma Wenbo frowned and said, "If he's not a waiter, how could he come? This is the private room we reserved, why did he come here? How is your restaurant managed? Call the security guards to throw him out." "Master Ma, please wait a moment, I will take care of it right away." Zhang Duqing turned around and looked at Yi Bufan, and saw that he was covered in street stall goods. The total cost was only 100 yuan. He didn't look like he was spending money in a high-end place like his, let alone the VIP room number 1. He asked solemnly, "Who are you? What are you doing in our hotel?" Yi Bufan said, "Of course I came here to eat. This is the private room we booked." "Yi Bufan, when did you become so good at pretending?" Zhu Linlin immediately, "This chapter is not finished, please turn the page." He shouted, "Manager, don't listen to him. He is just a poor man. How can he have money to come here to eat?" Yi Bufan was extremely disappointed with this woman and said, "You are really ignorant. Why don't you bully a young man who is poor and doesn't understand? Are you the only one who has the nerve to say such things?" Zhu Linlin pointed at Yi Bufan and said, "I bought these shoes from you at a street stall for 25 yuan a pair, these pants are 30 yuan, and the t-shirt is 10 yuan. I have been with you for more than a year, and the most money you have in your pocket is 100 yuan. A poor woman like you actually dares to talk about dining in VIP room number 1. Do you think everyone is a fool?" Ma Wenbo said to Zhang Duqing arrogantly, "Did you hear that? He just sneaked in. Let the security throw him out quickly. One was a rich man and the other was a poor boy." Zhang Duqing chose to believe in Ma Wenbo without hesitation. He said to Yi Bufan, "We are a high-end shopping place. Not everyone can come. Get out right away." Yi Bufan said, "Let me say it for the last time, this is the private room I booked. If you don't believe it, you can check the booking record." "No need, young Master Ma already said this is the room he reserved. Get out of here right away, or I'll ask the security guard to chase you away." Zhang Duqing has been in the catering industry for more than 10 years and is extremely confident in his ability to judge people. No matter how he looks at it, the young man in front of him cannot be a guest dining in VIP room 1. You must know that the minimum consumption here is 10,000 yuan. Yi Bufan said solemnly, "As the manager of a restaurant, do you treat your guests like this?" Ma Wenbo said disdainfully, "You are just a poor woman who can't even eat. What kind of guest do you think you are?" But he turned around and said to Zhang Duqing, "If even this kind of person can become a guest of Zui Jiangnan, then I will definitely not come again in the future. Dining with this kind of person will lower my status. It seems that I have to tell you, Boss Dong, that the management here is too problematic. Young Master Ma, don't worry, I'll let him go right now." Zhang Duqing hurriedly picked up the walkie-talkie in his hand and shouted, "Security, come to VIP room 1, there is a troublemaker here." After hearing his order, 4 tall security guards rushed over quickly. Zhang Duqing pointed at Yi Bufan, "Throw him out." The 4 security guards were not polite and rushed over to take action. At this moment, a roar came from behind, "I see whoever dares to move, stop it."